Hello Raptors fans, and welcome back for another episode of Raptors Overtime. My name is Vincent, and let's talk about the Raptors' first victory of 2019 over the Utah Jazz, 122-116. On the injury front, the Raptors continue to be without the services of Kyle Lowry and Jonas Valanciunas. Coming into the game, the Jazz came off a big win against the Knicks, 129-97. The Raptors also head into the game off a scrappy victory against the Chicago Bulls that saw them come back from a rough start to win the game 95-89. The Raptors and Jazz have met one time prior to tonight's matchup, and the Raptors came out of Utah with the victory by a score of 124-111. Alright, with the pregame information out of the way, let's dive into the game. We are going to start off in the third quarter where the Raptors really took over this back and forth game. Heading into the half, the Raptors were down 51-53 and it looked like another grinded out game with this hard-nosed Jazz team. However, Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam both stepped up in the third and had big performances on the offensive end. Both players made big plays and were impressive. This Raptors team has struggled from three-point range in the last month. However, if you were to look at Siakam's shooting performance in the quarter, he looked like a three-point specialist. Kawhi Leonard was not to be outshone, and he took over the quarter. There was no one on the Jazz that could guard him. He made several crossovers, showing off his tight handle. Leonard drove into the lane and had several impressive and one plays that showcased his strength. MVP chants were heard throughout the Scotiabank Arena, as Leonard calmly hit one of his several free throw attempts throughout the quarter. The Raptors fans showed their appreciation and gave Leonard an ovation as he subbed out of the game near the end of the third quarter. Without a doubt, this was the best game that Kawhi Leonard has played since he led the Raptors to an overtime win against the Golden State Warriors. The third quarter opened this game up for the Toronto Raptors, and the Utah Jazz were never able to come back from the deficit. The Raptors held on to the lead in the fourth quarter and took care of business, always keeping the Jazz at an arm's length away. Kawhi Leonard continued his offensive efficiency in the fourth and set a new career high in points by scoring 45. His performance tonight dazzled and reminds the NBA world just how good of a player he was before the injury. With that short game recap done, let's talk about the Raptors starters. Fred VanVleet continues to fill in for Kyle Lowry at the starting point guard position and had a solid game tonight. It seems like VanVleet gives Raptors fans a scare every single game with potential injuries, and it happened again tonight. VanVleet fell hard to the floor during a play on the offensive end and suffered a left hip contusion. Fortunately, VanVleet remained in the game and finished with 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists on 3 of 5 shooting. Danny Green had a decent night on the defensive end, but his offensive numbers were nothing to write home about. Green finished the game with 2 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block on 1 of 4 shooting from the field, and 0 of 2 from three-point range. We've already discussed Kawhi Leonard's stellar performance tonight, but here are the numbers that he finished with. 45 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist on 16 of 22 shooting from the field in 35 minutes of work. His MVP caliber performance tonight will remind the NBA world why he was in the conversation for MVP 2 seasons ago, before he was injured against the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs. Without a doubt, Kawhi Leonard was the best player on the floor for either team. The Raptors lacked a player of this elite caliber in seasons past, someone who would put the team on their back and carry them to the win with superstar level of play. Sure, the argument can be made that DeMar DeRozan was capable, most memorably last season where he won the game against the Pistons with a slam dunk. However, DeMar DeRozan is an upper echelon offensive player, and that is it. Kawhi Leonard is a superstar caliber player on both ends of the floor. His performance against the Jazz tonight should have all Raptors fans excited about what is still to come once this Raptors squad is able to get healthy. From superstar to most improved player in the league, we get to Pascal Siakam. Spicy P had a career high in points tonight and finished with a double-double. Pascal and Leonard won the game for the Raptors in the third quarter with their stellar play. Siakam finished the game with 28 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist on 9 of 15 shooting from the field, and more impressively, 3 of 4 from three-point range. Siakam continues to increase his value to this Raptors squad and had a huge impact tonight. There is no doubt that he is a special player, and his development so far does not even showcase the potential he truly has. At the 5 spot, Serge Ibaka was the final starter for the Toronto Raptors. Matched up against Rudy Gobert, Serge had a decent performance but was below his season averages. Ibaka finished the game with 8 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block on 3 of 10 shooting from the field and 1 of 3 from three-point range. Toronto's bench unit played well tonight, and it looked like they were in a rhythm for the first time in a long time. Let's talk about the bench's individual player performances. DeLon Wright played well tonight and made several nice drives in the fourth quarter. It's great to see him have a solid performance, as the Raptors bench hasn't been the team's strongest asset so far this season. Wright finished the game with 8 points and 2 steals on 4 of 8 shooting from the field. The most impressive player off the bench thus far has been Norman Powell. He continues to play well after returning from his shoulder injury and more recently from a personal leave due to his grandfather's passing. I would like to send him and his family my condolences, as I am sure this is a tough time for both him and for them. However, this has not stopped Powell from his solid play, and tonight he finished with 14 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks on 6 of 11 shooting from the field, and 2 of 4 from three-point range. After 2 games, it looks like Nick Nurse's experiment of giving CJ Miles' minutes to Norman Powell has paid off. Speaking of CJ Miles, he played only 3 minutes tonight. Miles finished with 0 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. CJ did not take a single shot in the time that he played. OG had a quiet performance tonight and finished with 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal on 1 of 2 shooting from the field. Finally, Greg Monroe filled in admirably at the backup 5 spot and played good defense tonight. Monroe isn't known for his defensive prowess, however he had several plays where he was in the correct spot and made the stop. The most memorable was when he just jumped straight up and stopped Gobert at the basket in the fourth quarter. He finished with 7 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks on 2 of 5 shooting from the field. The main takeaway from this game is that the Toronto Raptors are going to be a scary team when they are fully healthy. Much like the team that got off to a hot start earlier this season, when there is a flow to their offense, good luck stopping them. With Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green getting more comfortable with Nick Nurse's system each game, and the return of both Lowry and Valanciunas looming, there is much to look forward to in 2019 if you are a Raptors fan. Moving forward, the Toronto Raptors will be playing against the San Antonio Spurs on January 3rd. This will be a must-watch game as it will be the first matchup between the Raptors and DeRozan after the trade that sent him to the Spurs in exchange for Kawhi Leonard. There is a lot of excitement surrounding this game, and I look forward to sharing my reaction to the game in the next episode. Thank you to everyone listening, and hope to catch you all on the next episode of Raptors Overtime.